Today I'm going to introduce to you one of my favorite sites. It is one of the easiest and most addictive design tools I have ever used called Rupper. It all starts with uploading an image from your files. From there you can choose one of the many tilings to make geometric based patterns. Many of them remind me of looking through a kaleidoscope. I've been using Rupper for many of my designs, and the great thing about it is browser based with no software to download. I'll include a link below in the description so you can get to it. I have used it in Edge, Chrome, and Firefox, and I have not had any issues in any of them. It works well on all three. And just to let you know, my name is Donna. Hi, welcome to my site, my channel, Delynn Creates, where I share design, crafts, and how to do things using technology. So let's get started. You can play a little with it without an account, but you will not be able to save any of your work. I've already, if I hit the Start app, it's going to take me right in. This is a member site that you do have to pay for. You can get 14 days free to try it out, and you don't even have to sign up for the account to play around with it, but you won't be able to save anything. Once you sign up, then you can start saving, but after that 14 days, you won't have any access to that anymore. So you can try it. I mean, it's only $12.99 just for 1 month. So you can create and download as much as you want during that time period, or you can go ahead and pay the $119.88, and that gets you 12 months at a discount, which only equals 9 months versus the $12.99. They have different questions that you can ask them. They've got testimonials from people, the creators of Rupper, and they have all kinds of things. They have help center, and they tell you, go into about us. You can find all that information if you go to the site and take a look around. But I'm going to go ahead and start the app. It'll log me in, and you can see these are collections that I already have created, and you'll see I have a couple here that have duplicate. You see duplicate here on the beginning, and that's because I ran out of saves. You can only save 100 designs per image that you upload, or one folder, because you can't upload more than one image, and I'll show you that here in a little bit for a collection, which I've done this here. There's 2 images in this collection. So we're going to go ahead and basically you're going to find a source image to upload. It can be an original work of art that you've scanned into the computer that you've done by hand, a photograph. You can get something off a public domain site or photography site. You can do copyright-free images from sites like Unsplash or Pixabay. You can also put those links in the bottom if you've never worked with getting free images off the internet. I'll give you a couple shortcuts so you don't have to go Google that. It also depends on the type of design you want. If you want something very clear and sharp lines in your design, I would definitely recommend using drawing software to create some shapes and lines and whatever colors you like. It'll create much crisper edges, and I'm going to show you that difference. But let's go ahead and upload the design. We're going to go ahead and hit New Collection, and I'm going to call this one Holidays. And you see this is the library where I have uploaded images, and you can see I have a great variety of different images that I've created. A lot of these are original shapes because I like the clean, crisp edges. So I will put in some shapes into a file and upload those and get something different. I have done some, this is an AI image that I've done. This is an image. This is not AI. This is where I took a public domain image. I downloaded it because it was copyright free. This actually was a photo of a knight from a collection of suit of armor from, I think it was the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. And then I took it into some art software. I started out with Inkscape and did some basically where it does this thing where you find the edges, and then you can do these other processes and filters to it until you get what you want, and then I'll bring it into this one. I think I brought into Photoshop and I cleaned it up. And this is probably something I'll probably show in the future, so be on the lookout for that. This is a combination of a photo I found off of a free photography website, and then the background I did in Photoshop. Also, I did the thing where I transformed this from a photo into a vector image. This is straight up a image from copyright free, one of those, either the Metropolitan Museum of Art or another museum site. I can't remember which one. Another AI image. This was AI. This was an original created from a photo. The fish started out as a photo, and then I drew over it, added some crazy colors, and put it on top of a Photoshop design software background. This started out as one single photo that I transformed into an artwork and made it into pop art. This one is was an AI. This one I did myself in software, drew out the grid. Another one that I did in like a Photoshop, I believe. This one was hand drawn on a tablet. So I've done different things. I could go on and on. I'm crazy with it's like I doodle. So let's get started. I know I said that a little bit ago, but then I got distracted with all the designs here. So you can see that you can use basically anything. I'm going to upload an image that I've created, and I'm actually going to do two so I can show you how to do that first. So I've got one called Holiday Shapes with some purple trees, and it always comes up with the octagon, and you instantaneously get a design. This is really cool, and we can move this around. But I want to have some different images to work from so I can show you some of the differences that we can get. So I'm going to go ahead and it says change image, right? So you click on that, and then you can either you can upload a new one, choose from your library, or do an image search. Well, we're going to upload another one. And I've got this red, green, and white. I have a red, white, and blue one that I've done some ones before. Again, it pops up with the default of octagon. And we're just going to work with these two for a little bit. So let's go back to the other image. So you just go back and forth, click on this, and what you do is that it has a fixed aspect ratio. You can change that. You'll take this, and it's going to show you the surface, and you're going to click on it, hold it down, and move it around. And then you get different designs. And you just keep moving until you see something that you like. I kind of like this one. It's kind of neat. You can always delete it afterwards if you don't want it. So to save it so that you can download it later and not have to do it right now, because it's easier to work in batches. In this batch, we're going to make all these designs, right? So we're going to add the plus sign, and it puts it over here. What it puts over here is usually the tile. That tile, you click on this up here, you got three ways of looking at your design. You got tile, you got surface, and you've got 3D. 3D is what it's going to look like if it were to be put on a product. Basically the mock-ups that you see like in a print on demand type of situation, like, oh, or like say we're going to upload this to Spoonflower, what would it kind of look like on a pillow? So it'll give you ideas. It's got all kinds of different things. You do like a blanket. So it kind of shows you what it looks like laid out. Also a good way of kind of looking like a good way to see what it'll look like on some fabric. Coffee cup. You have a very festive holiday cup. That's pretty cool. I like that. The dress. Now the dress is one of these really neat things to see on here. And you can also, because it's a good way of seeing what it's going to look like on fabric if you decide to upload this like to Spoonflower. And the other thing is there's a plus and a minus up here, and you can go see what it looks like if you did a tiny, tiny print. Still looks pretty neat. You can also do it how it look very large. That looks pretty cool. I could see that being somebody wearing for the holidays. And even if you didn't want to do it in the shirt, make a skirt with it, with your fabric, with a design you put up on Spoonflower, and buy some nice silky type polyester that has a nice drape to it. You're ready to go to the Christmas party with a nice red or green sweater, and then you're all set. So I want to go back to the surface. And this plus and minus does, when you go from the 3D back to the surface, usually takes back to where you were, but you can also use this to look at the surface this way. I like to make it fairly decent size just because I don't want it to be too small. I want to see the edges of the designs and everything. So now that you've got that and you've moved it around, I like to take the fixed aspect ratio off. And the reason I do is because you get more control of how to put in different colors or the different way it's going to show up. So this is kind of neat here, but here's where your design area is inside this triangular thing. That's where it's getting the software is made to use like geometric, mathematical computations to get your designs. So this is not an AI program, it's an actual design program, almost like a filter, but you're controlling it more on this creative end versus the finished end of an image. You're getting to say how the image is going to look on your screen based on the different tilings. That's what this is called. It's inside the square rectangle, and then inside of that it's going to show you a shape of kind of what they're doing. And this one has a triangle that's been cut up, and there is some sort of like little way that this triangle makes it appear to be in these formations on your screen. So I'm going to move this up. I'm like, yeah. That's very bright. And sometimes it's like, well, I've used these holiday colors. That's not very holiday, but I might like it for something else. This really makes me kind of think. These colors, the red and yellow, if you're familiar, like Chinese New Year, you see lots of those colors. So another reason for calling it holidays, maybe you could use it for something else. Just think if you added some blue in here and you got into the area where it was red, white, and blue, then you've got some 4th of July and Memorial Day type images. So we're just going to move it over. Ooh, and there I've got the purple in. It's like side of royal blue. Oh, there's nice. It's almost like a little poinsettia. Let's go ahead and add this one. We'll add that one there, and then it shows up here. But say I wanted to what happens if I do this? It makes the flowers a little bit smaller. Go this way, makes them fatter. See, you can get more control of how those images look in the tile. You can also switch to the tile to see, okay, there it is. This is a nice square tile, almost like a quilt square, so you can see more of what it's going to look like that way. Like if you're interested in because here's a thing that you can use this for. If you're a quilter, it's a really cool way of getting some different patterns, whether applique or even like if you do lots of squares and angles. I've got lots of circles in this one, so it's going to give us some circular patterns. But I'm going to go back to the surface. I see what it looks like there. That's not too bad. Still not sure what I want. Well, I don't want just green and purple. And just keep moving it around. Okay, so maybe this one's like, oh, okay, I'm not sure I really like this tiling that much to get that many different ones out of it. And there's some pretty wild ones, which make some really cool prints for fabric, not necessarily like Christmas. And I don't want the yellow. I'm going to move this over. I don't want yellow in there. I just want the red and the white. Move that up. So here's like a cool little thing. So let's add that on there. Let's add that one. Okay, now let me show you the different types of tilings. And there's different ways of looking at it. There are seamless and there are seamed. And I'm going to show you the difference of how it's in the design. So on this view, there's like 3 different ways to view your tiling, where you can actually see what each of the tilings are. And they all have their names down here. Cross brick, arabesque, octagon, which is where it started us out at, was octagon. That's the default. You can also look at it, put it over here to the side so you can hover over each tile and get a preview of the spot where it currently is. So if we went down to octagon, this is where we are at the moment. We haven't changed our tiling yet, so that's where it is. You can also use this one. This one just gives you the names. This is Sometimes I kind of like this because then I'm surprised at what I'm getting. And I've got a little bit more real estate space to look at the entire design. And then they're seamed, which these come a lot more, and like it takes a piece of the pattern and it repeats it with whatever thing that you have selected on the screen. I'm going to choose one of these right now. I'm going to go to bow tie. This is one of my favorites. And you can do the fixed aspect ratio again if you want. Here's a little triangle where it's getting it. And the bow tie, you can't really see the bow tie pattern as much right here. But if we get, let's get down into, okay, like this. If you've done quilts, you know what the bow tie is. The bow tie is when there's two little like squares like opposite of each other and they're creating sort of, there it is. See the bow tie? So you can see the little bow tie here and you can kind of see it on the opposite. It's like a square. The other cool thing that you can do besides messing with all these patterns, I would tell you to go in and play with the software, but I am going to warn you. I should have said this at the beginning of the video. You might be too tempted. It is so addictive that if you think that you're going to go over there and just play with it and give it up and you like to play with design, don't do it. Just stop right now. Don't go any further. Just enjoy people who design with it. It can also give you ideas for doing it here, but then maybe you want to do something similar in design software. I kind of feel that way about AI too, that when it gives me an image, it's not necessarily the image I'm going to use for anything, but it might give me trigger that mind block, kind of like writer's block, design block. You know, it's like, oh, I need another idea. What can I do? What colors can I use? So basically you can do all this moving around. See, that's kind of cool. Oh, I kind of like that. Like that's just a neat little pattern, right? Just red and green. Great, great for the holidays. I'm going to take the aspect ratio off. I'm going to move this up. Oh, look at that. That's really cool. I like the little touch of red and white at the end. That just makes it a little bit different. What if we move it a little bit? I'm going to save that just because it's different. I'm not necessarily, if I am in love with it, it just kind of just catches my eye. So here's another thing you can do. They have this thing up here that it says dream. There's a little drop down here. You can select the motion, the speed, how fast you want it to go, tiling variation. Do you notice what's happening in the background right now? It's moving. And you can include all the tilings or you can just include this one. See, look at that. It's doing aisle tiling, seamless tiling. You can choose from those. Let's take that off the tiling variation. It's in windmill now. Surface motion. So it'll move across there as well. It's giving you the 4 quadrants and it's showing you where it currently is on your design relative to your design over here, I believe. It's going back that way. There, now it's moving. Okay, let's turn that off. And let's see, image variation, opacity, noise, blend time, and turn that off. Okay. So yeah, so then also there's a thing over here that says stop. So then you can stop it whenever you're done. And then if you like that, or you can just let it keep going. I don't like the dream mode as much. You see as it moves. It's like, yeah, and then you gotta be like, okay, stop. And if you don't quite like that, you're like, oh man, I don't know if I quite get that right. You can use your arrow buttons just like in a design program when you've put an image onto the screen and you just want to nudge it a little bit, so you can use your arrows and just do it a little bit. So I'm doing this from, right now I'm going left, now I'm hitting the right button, now I'm hitting the down button, and then I'm going back up. And this is especially good if you're like, oh, those meet. I kind of like that where they meet, right? A little bit more. That I like. It almost is like a spiral within a spiral. So I can say I like that. And this is necessarily not a holiday one, except it could be kind of ornamenty. Right now this is in the windmill pattern, and you can see it's got this thing here. You can rotate it if you decide you want it to be, and I usually do it within like 45-degree angles, ones in between. It's not as helpful for like when you want to export it to something. So I'm going to go back down to 0, keep it where it was. So we're going to go to effects next. The effects, you got different, you got color adjustment. If you want it a little bit brighter, a little bit darker, yeah, more contrast. Some things are more important with doing these or not. Saturation. So if you wanted a certain brightness, well, maybe like maybe I want a little bit more of that and that color green. Black and white. You can go to the black and white thing, and this is where I think the contrast is more important, especially when we get into more linear lines. So basically it makes the white pop out more, the darker's dark, then it gets more grayscale down this way. We'll put it back to 1. I'm going to turn that off. Duotone is very fun to work with. You can get different colors just from the design you're working on. It's a little more muted, and it's another place you can go up to the brightness and make it be a little bit different. I still prefer like it to be more of the original. You can invert the colors, keep it that way, and then you can do the amount, which basically you go all the way down the bottom. It's the original at 0, and you just keep moving up a little bit and you start seeing the colors change. I prefer to be almost at the very top at full strength. Let's take that off. Seam border, because this is a seamed pattern and it's showing you what the seam is. The cool thing though is that you see how it brought up white automatically, which is cool. If we're doing some red and green or whatever and we want to do some white. The other thing is if you're like, oh, now I got the seam in there, let's go back to the pattern. Maybe I want to move something else into this pattern. We're looking for holidays, right? What do we want? Maybe we just need a red and green like that. That's kind of neat with just the arcs. So let's go back to effects, and we've got this border, but it's white. And like maybe I like it white. I can make the width different. I can make it thinner. Maybe I just want like a, ooh, because now we've got this like 3-dimensional quilt tumbling blocks kind of pattern going on here. That's cool. Can thicken that up. We can make it really, really thick. And then we've got like, it's almost like a diamond pattern. That'd be really nice for some pattern type backgrounds, whether you're putting this on paper or fabric. Let's go down back like to here. You can change the color. Now, one little trick about changing the color. There's a little eyedropper here, and you know most, if you've used design software, you can do this and get another color that's on the page. This always comes from the source. So unfortunately, if you're in duotone or black and white, it's always going to bring you up the color. Now in black and white it will change, but for some reason in the duo color it does not, and I wish it would. I wish there was a way that they would, that'd be one thing I would wish for if they asked me. I would say, yes, can we get this? So if I click on the green here, see it changes that to green, changes the design. If I click on this green, but in the duotone it's actually blue, because I've chosen sort of a blue hue, I wish it would change it to that blue hue. So I can go to all these different colors, and there's really not a whole lot to choose from here. But you can go over here and choose a completely different color going in here. So if you want to be, which is nice, if you want to change a little bit of color, but you don't want to, like a dark green would be nice. Ooh, I like the dark green. A lot of times I like to choose black too. It makes me think of like more of a coloring book or cutting it out for a pattern. Let's go over to that dark green again. Let's do dark green. That is real. I like that. So at that point, we can get out here and we can save this one, and it'll give us that pattern with the dark green. So if we come back to this later, this pattern is saved. The other thing is too, let's go over back to the pattern. I want to keep this here. Let's go back to the pattern. And what happens if move some of this around? Oh, look how that's rotating. That's cool. The other thing about this cube, there's also a star going on here. I don't know if you notice these little because it's diamonds really. There's a star pattern right there. If you look out from these little, this is called windmill, so it's windmilling from the center here. And now it starts to really, oh, it might be too much. And trying to, here we go. There, I'm trying to make it be that circle in the middle. I'm trying to get it to meet. I can zoom in if I want. Not necessarily needing that blue. But I do want those lines to meet to look like that's over top. See, if I want, and if I go back to the effects, I bet if I take the seam border off, yes, they meet. They're a little bit off, but we put the seam border back on, it closes off where it meets. So now I've got this really cool kind of design here. So again, I can save it again, and now it'll give me that one with this little design in the middle. Let's zoom back out a little bit. And I'm going to do some videos in the future where I'm going to do it all just on one thing. Like if it's all like on seam borders and seeing how those look and see how many different ways we can get that to work. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the seam border back off. Let's see, does the tile border have anything? Yes, this one has a tile border. And you'll notice that it's the little hexagon. This is, if we go over to the tile, it will show us, but it also has made it so if you would export this tile, it will be seamless, which means that you can repeat it into things like Spoonflower or other design softwares and put it up against each other, and you'll end up with this design without trying to figure out how to get this exported out to be perfect. So again, with the tile border, you can change the color. And let's say we wanted the yellow. We'll do the yellow. And again, you can adjust the width, make it really thick, so you can make them really small, which looks kind of cool with that little thing in the middle. You can make it round, so now you've got sort of a polka dot pattern, or in this case, you say, kind of looks like Christmas ornaments, right? Again, there's the color change, so maybe we wanted to do the blue background with the dots. And then if you're like, not sure it's quite the right, so it's more of a purple than a blue. Let's go over here. So what can we use? There we go. And now maybe we want to go to the pattern. Maybe we want to do something like that. So now we've got sort of a funky, like almost like ball. Sure. You can change a little bit. Kind of meet those up again bigger, but now we got double because the way we move this over here, there's more lines. You can hit the Command Z if you bump something. That's what I just did. I hit Command Z to undo what I just did. So say I like this one. Now, okay, I'm tired of this now. I want to change my image. So let's go ahead and bring in that second image. And it's going to take you right where you were as far as your tiling. And then we can change that. Let's go back into effects. Let's take off the tile border. I don't really need the color adjustments. Let's go back to the pattern. And you see this is all very angular. I do not have any circles in this. So I can move this around. Make it looks like Christmas candy. I'm going to show you one of my favorite ones in the seamless Persian star. This is one of my favorite things. Let's zoom in on this a little bit. These make really nice designs. It makes like very, very cool star looking ones or snowflake ones. Oh, there's a nice one. That's very holiday. So I put that in there. That looks like that. And again, you can go in the effects. I'm not going to get into these surface effects right now. That'll be a future video. But we can see if there's a tile border, which it's still set up with this blue and the roundness, which is fine. If you wanted to do, let's take down the width a little bit. You can make all those into a circular because they do have a circular look. You could do that. I would change the background. Let's go for white. There we go. Or what else is there? Let's get the red from here, and then because then you're going to get in the same family of reds. I don't think I like that. I think I'm just going to go back to the white. And the white is all the way up here in the corner. Or you go back here and choose the white that's in there to make sure you get the same exact one. Or if you know hexagon codes, you can put the hexagon code in here of a color that you like. And white is always all F's. F, 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 F. Width. There, that looks kind of like little red trees around the edge. Okay, so I can add this one to my favorites. So that's the basics of using Repr to get designs. So let's go, and I'm going to show you, I've showed you just the sharper images at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like to bring in a different picture or painting to get that more brushed look that's not going to be quite as geometric. But this time I'm going to go into image search. Image search, it goes into Unsplash, where these are copyright free images, and it defaults to finding pattern. I'm going to look for Christmas. I want the red and green colors. So Christmas. So we've put in red and white flowers. This is sort of a nice picture here. So we put that in, and it's going to jump right to the one we ran with the Persian star. Let's go ahead and take the other effect off, the tile border. I don't need that anymore. Now I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to let you see the difference of choosing a ready image picture versus the straight edges that we have. So this is going to be a little more different. Go back to the pattern, and it made it really big. Now we can zoom back out a little bit, get a little of that. And you can see this Persian star. There's like a star happening kind of here, and then when it crosses, there's an image there. And we remove this around, and we're going to get different ones, kind of like some big snowflakes going on, some flowers, some intense red. You could do it where it's like lots of the red, looks very Victorian or Gothic, maybe even. Kind of pattern, lots of different things moving here. What if we tried something a little more simple? Let's go ahead and turn on this this one here so we can kind of see it off to the side where we think might look good. Oh, now this is a nice one. This is a very nice representation. This is octagon, usually our default, right? That's kind of pretty. So we're going to save that so we can add that to the collection. Let's move this over to where it's white. Oh, that almost looks like little Christmas trees there. Can add that on. Now this is going to be a much fuzzier pattern when you print it out or export it. Looks nice with that little gold there. What if we move that in, get more of that yellow? So this is where your designs eye comes in. You kind of see, oh, I kind of like that. What if we change it to a different one with that yellow? What would look good? The Echo Honeycomb would look good. That one looks nice. Let's go ahead and add that. I'm not even going to move anything around. And then I also saw, I believe it was the tartan plaid. Where'd the tartan plaid go? Oh, here it's Echo Tile. Excuse me, I thought it was a tartan plaid. That looks okay. But I kind of like the Echo Tile. I like this little thing here, and we could move it out a little bit. No, I think the problem is there's so many colors in here, it makes it look a little bit, oh my goodness, look, it picks up the actual picture. Let's zoom this in so you can take a closer look at it. Actually picks up some of the flowers. Okay, this one's cool. I might have to use this on some fabric. And you can too. This picture, if you get this program, it's in like when we get the pictures, and it was red and white flowers is where this image came from. You can also, let's just jump over to 3D. Let's see what those look like on that dress. There we go. Make it bigger. That looks really nice. Let's go back to the surface. And then we go to the tile. Here's what the tile looked like. Really nice square. I just like to have some squares and put together for a quilt. So you find something that you really like. And I like to do, you can do either the tile or the square. It depends on what you're going to do with the project. This is going to take some playing on you. I might do some, if you're interested in doing some videos on the different types of projects and different ways of exporting this. Today I'm just going to show you the simple way. We're going to go to export. You can do maximum. This is 1688 by 1688 pixels. It's going to do it in PNG. You can also do it in JPEG. This is kind of a picture-y thing. JPEG may work better, probably will work better for this. I would choose JPEG, but I like to do custom, and I like to switch this to inches. And you can change the DPI. If your DPI does not say 300, I would change it to 300. Spoonflower will allow you to upload something at 150 DPI. I like doing 300 DPI. I like making the image as big as I possibly can. But I like doing 300 DPI. I like doing a very big size. Right now this size is 1.667 inches by 1.67 inches. You can change that. I'm going to change it to be an 8-inch square. Will it let me? Yes, it will do an 8-inch square. There is some that when it gets too big, it will tell you that the actual DPI drops significantly, and then you can adjust it. So then you're just going to hit export. And I am just going to put it, I'm going to put it in my repr file here. I don't think I have any, I don't have a folder for this yet, so I'm just going to save it straight on. And then later I can go back and do whatever I want with it. And if you want to see some things that I do with repr, you can go back and watch my Spoonflower video. I'll put part 2 to my Spoonflower that really shows you how to upload things there. You can do that, but for the most part, this is the overview of repr. You will get addictive. There is another thing you can do. You see this down here. It says export snapshots. You can make 100 snapshots. That's the majority you can do. You can export all your snapshots at once, and it'll just put them in a zip file, and you can go back and look at them later. I'm not going to do that now, but that is possible. So in case you just do 1 month and then you want to save them, you can, and then just do your 1 month and get everything exported. I would suggest exporting each one individually because you can control your sizes and everything. I'm going to see if I go up here, I go to another one to export. See, right now this size is 13 inches by 8 inches. This would make a really large pattern. And I think the cleaner your edges are, because when you do a clean, basic design, you will get much bigger images because the DPI is going to be better than when you do a photo or a picture. So let me just go out here. I will show you one of my collections where I've done artwork so you can kind of see the difference what I'm talking about versus, so like in this one for example, view the collection. There are some really neat patterns here, but some of them you can see are a little bit on the fuzzier side because this is wasn't a geometric picture to begin with, but they still do make some amazing, and this one I believe I do have on Spoonflower. But here's the tile. If I go to and it's showing the pixel side, the export, I'm going to hit the custom page. So if I wanted to go to inches, it's really, really, really small. It's kind of fuzzy. What if I decide I just want to go to 4 inches? There you go. So you can see the difference here is a little bit fuzzier than my other items that I did. And I'm going to leave the link for repr in the descriptions below. Feel free to go over there and give it a try. But again, be warned, you will get addicted and you will want to have the subscription. I had the subscription before I even wanted to do anything with it because I love making designs and I love making geometric shapes and just playing with the colors I was a huge Kaleidoscope fan, still am when I was a kid. I always begged to get a Kaleidoscope whenever we go anywhere and they'd have one. And the other thing is, I do need to tell you that if you do go to Ripper and you do pursue it using my link below, I do get a small commission, but that's just no cost to you. But it does help me out in getting started on this channel, and especially if you guys want more videos done, I will be here to make them, because one thing I do love to do is not only make designs, I love to share how I do them and help teach others in real life. I'm an instructional designer, so I just can't help it. I love technology and I love design and I love arts and crafts and sewing and all that stuff. So this is just my thing that I want to do as I go forward in life and transition from one career to another, whenever that is. Right now, it's more of a hobby than a career. Just let me know what you guys think, and like and subscribe, and I'd appreciate it. See you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.